with the Parent Coach Club, and I am here today with the fabulous Sylvia Corzato. Hello, Sylvia.
Hi, Jen.
I am so glad you're here. Sylvia is a fellow Canadian, but in this world of virtual parent coaching, it doesn't matter where Sylvia is from. But I thought it was good to mention, as a fellow Canadian, we are getting ready for a winter that is going to be super mild because we can't travel down south yet. And I'm really looking forward to that. So I want to tell you a little bit about Sylvia and what Sylvia is going to be sharing with us today. So Sylvia is a parenting consultant and behavior coach, and she is the fabulous creator of Success in Steps. You may know her from CTV Morning Live in Ottawa. She is very well known for us in Canada, and I know a lot from the US also watch you on CTV Morning Live too. So I'm going to tell you that Sylvia is going to give us a wealth of knowledge today about why it is important to create a family foundation. And I know you're going to love the steps that she's going to take us through. So stay through to the end, because I will also tell you how you can connect with Sylvia if you are looking for ways to really build your family foundation. So a little about Sylvia. I'm going to go first, and then Sylvia, you're going to tell us the why, like the good juicy stuff. It is all good juicy stuff, but Sylvia supports parents to spend less time on challenges and behaviors and more time enjoying their family. Isn't that fabulous? She is the founder of Success in Steps, a parent consultant and behavior coach. And she focuses on providing parents with tailored support to achieve their family's goals while considering their unique strengths and needs. Prior to starting Success in Steps, she spent 15 years in the social service sector, providing direct one-to-one therapy to children, and in the area specifically of autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, and anxiety disorder. Followed by assessing families' needs as an intake worker at the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, and she also worked in the private sector. She's been told that understanding behaviors is something that comes naturally to her, and believes there is always room to improve your knowledge and skill set. I believe that too, Sylvia, and that's why you're here to help us improve our knowledge and better our skill set for building our family foundation. Sylvia received her Bachelor of Arts in psychology and sociology, and spent many hours training in applied behavior analysis, ABA, for those that know the short form acronym for it, and intensive behavior intervention, IBI. She received certifications in coaching, counseling children and adolescents, and has completed safeTalk Suicide Alertness for everyone. I think I could probably go on and on, Sylvia, and talk about all of the experience and expertise that you have. You are the go-to person for parent coaching, consulting, behavior consulting. So thank you so much for being here. What I didn't read about you in your bio was really the why behind creating Success in Steps. So I'd love for you to just share with us why you created Success in Steps.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here today. I'm very pleased to be here. And really the why comes down to all my years of working with children, and my heart gets filled every single time that I talk about this. So I do apologize if my emotions get the best of me, but I have been in the field for 20 years now. And prior to having kids of my own, I'd have two kids, 14 and 11. I, excuse me, I was, as you mentioned, an instructor therapist working one-on-one with children on the spectrum, or those that had ADHD and children that suffer from anxiety as well. And as a therapist and being trained in my profession, I really had the tools, the knowledge to really look at how I can break down skill sets for children and be able to teach them and create these wonderful milestones. And it was beyond rewarding, from working with a nonverbal child and providing them with the support through PACS, the picture exchange communication system, to get them speaking or to be able to communicate to a level that is functioning. It was so rewarding. And I have so many cherished memories of all the different children that I was able to support and their families. Now, one thing when I was a therapist is that we had these visits that were called parent observations. And during that time, parents would come in every couple of weeks to kind of see where their how their child is progressing in therapy. And it always left a spot in my heart when parents were able to see what their child was capable of doing, but then they weren't seeing the same thing at home. And no fault to the parents whatsoever, right? Like, I've been trained in this field, that my expertise were behavioral challenges and also nonverbal children. This is where I went to school to study and got all those hours of experience. And so I really felt for parents who were trying to replicate these things at home and were no fault of their own, once again, of being unsuccessful with it. And it led for a lot of heartache and stress. And it really broke my heart to see that. So the reason why, or the why behind Success in Steps, is really that when I became a parent myself, my daughter, God bless her, I love her, but she was not the easiest child. She is a typically developing child. She doesn't have a diagnosis, but she did have behavioral challenges. Nothing that I'm hiding here. She knows this. We share it. We're open. But the thing is that if I didn't have my toolbox of strategies and to be able to understand the why behind her challenges and behaviors and what was maintaining them, I don't think that I was able to get those awesome outcomes that I have now. She's awesome. Like, love her to pieces. I loved her anyways, but I mean, it's just much easier now. And really, I saw that as, this is what I want to provide parents. I want parents to understand that challenges and behaviors with children are all normal. It's a developmental thing that all kids go through, right? The terrific twos, as I call them, or the fantastic fours. I like to put a positive spin on everything. And then the preteen stages as well. Like, these are normal things for kids to go through. The thing is that there are ways that we can do it in a more positive manner. We can look at the why behind, once we understand the why or the function of the behavior and what is maintaining them, we can shape that. We can support our children a lot better. We can be more responsive as to reactive. And when we have these tools, we as parents are less stressed. We are having more connection. We are able to turn something that could be like this massive wildfire into something that's really small, and we can blow it out and we can start just enjoying them. So that's really the why behind Success in Steps. I believe that if parents do have the support and the strategy to tackle behavioral challenges, you're going to see less time spent on that and more time enjoying your family. And you're just going to feel more confident as a parent. You won't be worried about what other people are thinking all the time. You're not going to be worrying about reinventing the wheel because something doesn't work. You're just going to really have those, that's awesome moments. So that's the why behind Success in Steps.
Well, thank goodness that you had a daughter with these unique behaviors, because now you have the tools and the experience and the education and all of that to know how to help other parents. So thankfully, she chose you as the mom. And now you created Success in Steps because you saw the difference. And I absolutely love that you are also consulting parents on situations that you yourself have been through. And I think that's important. And and also, like you said, like, you know, kids, they're normal behavioral issues that are happening. But once you have those tools in place or that foundation in place, you can make anything uh, not a blow up situation. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that why. Thank you for sharing it. So that brings us to your 4-step kind of process of helping us build a strong family foundation. And I want to jump right into it for our readers to know how you did it and how we can do it too. So there's 4 points that we want to make about building a family foundation. What is the first point that you want to make for us to learn what you know and how we can use it in our family?
Absolutely. So the first thing is clear expectations. Now, clear expectations is something that we can start at a very young age with our children. It's knowing that we are providing them with what they need to do. We want to take away the assumptions, because when we're assuming, we're creating a lot of chaos. What I normally share with families is that clear expectations provide clarity, unknowns provide chaos.
That is so good and so true. Once you have those set expectations, here, I expect you to only be on playing Fortnite for half an hour, not 4 hours. Is that what you mean by setting expectations?
Yes, and actually, when we're talking about gaming, that goes a little bit more in depth, where you want to be even more specific. So, you know what? Sure, you can play on Fortnite. You have until 4:30 to play on Fortnite, or you set a timer. The thing with gaming is that it's an ongoing activity. There's no end. It's not a close end activity, so kids don't know when to stop, and it's a highly stimulating activity as well. So we have to provide children with more boundaries, which is another step that we're going to be speaking about. But providing with clear expectations with, sure, you can play Fortnite, you have until a set time, and state whatever the set time is, because a half an hour is too open-ended. Or that you set a timer and say when the timer goes off, that's when you need to turn off the console or computer, because we're talking about Fortnite. So I don't know. My kids don't play Fortnite, but I know a lot about Fortnite. Yes.
Lucky you, because yeah, time is irrelevant when that is on. But yeah, so your number 1 tip is to have clear expectations. Yes. I love that. What's the second tip for us, Sylvia?
The second tip is to be consistent. So the thing with when we're speaking with our children is that we want to provide them with structure. And in order to do that, we need to be consistent with our rules. And so clear expectations fall in line with rules, such as, you know, you need to eat your dinner before you can have dessert. You need to walk the dog before you can have your computer time. You need to put away your laundry before you can go and play out with your friends. Whatever the clear expectations are, you need to be consistent with it. You can't say all of a sudden, okay, you know what? Dinner's not ready yet, so have that piece of cake, but make sure you eat your dinner. That just sends a world of mixed messages there, right? So the consistency of expectation and the consistency across parents or caregivers, because if we're looking at if your child goes to daycare, we want to have similar expectations there as well. We don't want it to be that vastly different, because it's also going to send mixed messages and it's going to create a lot of chaos in the home. So where you can have consistency, that is definitely going to be key, because consistency is key to any progress. So by having the clear expectation and then being consistent with those clear expectations, you are providing more clarity to your child, so that what this really does, it avoids a negotiation. Mm-hmm. We can limit the amount of negotiation that we have with our children. What we're doing is we're reducing a lot of that attention-seeking behavior and a lot of that escape-motivated behavior as well.
That is such great advice. And I can see times in our family where not being consistent has been such a huge problem. Like even consistent with what I'm saying, but also consistent with my husband, and are you parenting the same way that I am? It's so important. And our house runs a lot smoother when we're all on the same page. We're not, let's ask mom and she says, no, I'm going to go to dad.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
lots of benefits of having parents on the same page, because you won't have that, well, go and ask mom or go and ask dad. We know that the rules are going to be the same.
Yeah.
One thing that I get a lot of parents asking me is, well, does that mean we have to be on the same and do everything exactly the same? And to that I say, absolutely not. There are things that I do with my children that my husband doesn't do with our children, and vice versa. And there are things that, you know what, when we're dad, we're allowed to do this, but it's not something that's going completely away from what our clear expectations are and what our boundaries are. So we want to have those personalized moments and things that that's a mom thing or that's a dad thing. We want that because that builds connection. But what we don't want is that, okay, with dad, I'm just using that example, but with dad, we're allowed to eat in the family room, and we don't have to put away our dishes. And with mom, we have to sit at the table and then we have to put our dishes. That's not fair. It's not fair for the kids, and it's not fair for the other parent with that inconsistency.
Gosh, are you a fly on the wall in my house? But they're watching hockey.
Move the table over.
Okay. Do you recommend with consistency that you like write down things to get on the same page, or what do you usually suggest in a family where there's two parents or even a parent and daycare provider, or someone else that is with the child?
So I strongly recommend to write it down, and it's going to stick. And so that goes for everything, right? We all know that saying. And I think that when it comes to clear expectations, it's fantastic to write it down so that there's a visual. So whenever we are speaking about communicating, 80% of what we take in is visual. The 20 other percent is auditory. So I always use the example of a billboard, for example. When you're driving by, the words are not going to capture your attention. It's the picture, right? So think about the picture as the visual and the words as the auditory. You capture the picture first, and then you read, and then you absorb it. So within your household, I always encourage, first of all, if they're little children, using visuals is always going to be a great thing as well. A visual schedule is something that I strongly recommend for little ones. I use them with my children for morning routines and bedtime routines. You have a picture, and then you have the words so that they can start building association, and then they get to check it off, which kids love to do because they love that sense of completion. So that helps to provide clear expectation. It also helps to reduce a lot of stress in the morning, during morning routine, when you're shuffling off to work, or and for them to go to school or to daycare, back in the days when everyone was going to work and not stuck at home due to COVID. But still, the visual schedule does provide a lot of benefits with having to stay at home, whether you're doing homeschooling, online schooling, or going to school, physically going to school. And I do have examples of those on my website as well, if parents are interested in that. But then you can also just write it down on what I call a makeshift dry erase board. I just took a frame from the dollar store, put a white piece of paper behind it, bought a dry erase marker, and we just write down the tasks that need to get done or what was breaking down for the day. It's what I call as our communication board that stays in the kitchen. And what I love about it is that, yes, it provides clear expectations, but the kids just know it's part of our routine, that they know that they have to check the board. And the board's not always with a bunch of tasks of to-do lists. Sometimes I'll draw them a funny cartoon. Sometimes we'll do like a fill in the blank. It can be fun. It's so that, it's not always they look there like, I have all this to do, but that they get little surprises there as well, or are like, surprise, we're going to so-and-so or whatnot. So it's just a communication board, but it provides clear expectations of what we're going to be doing, or if they have free time, so that we're all on the same page, and then they get to wipe it off. And so they got it done, I know that they got it done. And then that we build that trust factor at the same time.
Wow, and those 2 tips, I think you will eliminate a lot of disagreements already in my house, but you still have 2 more tips for us. So
Yeah.
we are going to have
Yes.
such a strong family foundation by the time we're done. Okay, so 3rd tip then. First was clear expectations. Second was consistency. What's your 3rd tip?
Healthy boundaries. So the thing with boundaries is that you don't have to run a super strict household in order to have everything to work all magical, but you do have to have boundaries. The reality is that children thrive with boundaries. That's why we are parents. We are there to, rules are there for a reason. And we as parents, we are actually here for a reason as well, not just to feed them and clothe them and put a roof over their head. Children need rules because they don't know any better. And it's our responsibility as parents when the children are young is to shape their behaviors in a positive way. I am not one to want to remove aspects of a child's characteristic. If you have a strong-willed child, that is a blessing. I know it doesn't seem like it. It is a blessing though, because we want that child to be strong-willed when they're fighting for, something that they believe in, or, they really want to get that job, and their strong-willed personality is going to, I'm persistent, I'm going to do it. We want that one when they're older. So we don't want to remove that from them when they are young. We just want to shape them. We want to guide them on when to use that strong-willed personality and when we need to tone it down a little bit. So it's just really important to have boundaries so that they understand the limits. We're going to go back to that computer example to begin with, right? Kids don't know or don't want to know. They choose not to know that, having that much computer time, for like say being on an electronic for 4 hours is not good for them. They will stay on it as long as they physically can because it's addictive. It's highly stimulating, and there's very few other activities that provide the same levels of stimulation as electronics. So we need to have healthy boundaries. And when we have healthy boundaries, when we know through clear expectation and consistency and then healthy boundaries, we know that our children know, okay, it's computer time. I get a half an hour on the computer, or I get computer on this time during the day. And I know that I have to turn it off after this amount of time. Those healthy boundaries through clear expectations and consistency is going to establish a lot of calmness. Yes, you're going to get the child to, hey mom, can I have 5 more minutes? That's for you to decide. But just know that if you give that 5 more minutes, that's going to be the new expectation. So it's really important to have those boundaries in place so that we provide some structure into the household and to avoid a lot of arguments, negotiations, and such.
That is such great advice. So healthy boundaries. And when you said, these video games are providing a stimulation they don't get in other ways, someone has to come up with a way of vacuuming, but making it exciting like Fortnite. Like, can they shoot the dust balls? I don't know.
Okay. I love that. But that really falls into my next point, which is working with your child's motivation.
Awesome. Okay, so that's point number 4, motivation. Okay, tell us more.
Motivation is key, right? If someone says to me, hey, Sylvia, guess what? You get to clean the house and then you get to mow the lawn. Okay, I actually enjoy mowing lawn, so maybe that's not a good example, but let's just put that in perspective. I'm like, wow, yay, let me get that house cleaned extra quick because I get to mow the lawn afterwards, right? Hey, Sylvia, how about we clean up the house and then we will go to the local, I'm going to use a local winery because it's vineyard season right now, and a lot of people are speaking about it, but we get to go to the winery and enjoy a dinner there. Okay, now you're talking. Okay, I'm going to get that house clean and we're going to go and enjoy an evening out, right? So working with motivation is key for everybody, children, adults, teens. But when you start at a young age, you're developing that foundation there as well. So for your example of vacuuming in Fortnite, Mom, can I play Fortnite? Sure, you can play Fortnite. First, vacuum your room, and then you can play Fortnite. A lot of people ask me, is this bribery? It's not bribery when your child's the one that asks for the item. It's working with their motivation.
There's a clear difference there. Thanks for describing the difference too. Wonderful.
Yeah. It's 100% different. And so we always want to work with our child's motivation. And when we work with our child's motivation, that non-preferred activity that we're asking of them is going to be more motivating because of what follows. Mm-hmm. And what follows is something that your child has established, not you. So whenever you're able to work with your child's motivation, you're going to get a child that is going to be more inclined to getting the work done, more inclined to getting the work done properly. And this is where the parents need to just do a follow through at the very beginning, is to make sure that you are checking up, vacuuming, and then all of a sudden you see that only a section was vacuumed and there's still like a mess in the room. No, we want to follow through, and that's how we end up building that trust factor as well. So working with your child's motivation will go a long way in so many different aspects, whether you're looking at, struggles with homework, whether you're looking at struggles with bedtime routine, whether you're looking at struggles of a child that doesn't feel like they should have to help around the house and they just want to spend time with their friends. There's many ways to navigate that when we are able to look at the function of the behavior, the reason why it's happening and what's maintaining it, but also what's the motivation that is incorporated in there as well.
Okay, that is a great point. And again, I think you're a fly in the wall with every situation you mentioned there. It's like, yeah, I can see how days would run a lot smoother if we, number one, set those clear expectations. We're consistent, have the healthy boundaries, and really identify our child's motivation. So I so appreciate you, Sylvia, coming in. And within this has been maybe 20 minutes and you've shared all that. This could be life-changing. So I imagine the people that work one-on-one with you are just like thanking you beyond belief when they get a one-on-one session, which is what I want to talk about next. Like, how can parents work with you? Do you want to tell us a little bit about the different ways parents can find you, and then how can they work with you?
Sure. So first, that you can reach me at my website at www.successinsteps.ca. There's a wealth of information on there, and I have a contact form on that whereby there's key information that I collect to determine what is the best support for your family. So in regards to services, all my services are done virtually. I do in-home support, but due to COVID right now, it is on hold. But majority of my families are virtual support anyways. And so I have my one-on-one sessions, which are called Pick My Brain. And they're 1 hour virtual sessions whereby we focus on one specific area. So maybe it's picky eater, maybe it's bedtime challenges, maybe it's challenges with the computer, maybe it's my child's so entitled I can't get them to do anything. Whatever the case may be, if it's something that's more of a general and you're looking for some guidance and support, the Pick My Brain session is ideal, so that we can review the situation and I can provide you with some support and strategies to implement, and then we can book another session once you've had an opportunity to implement that. For those parents that have ongoing challenges, that parents might not be on the same page, that the problem has been persisting for a really long time and has now gone out of control, or if you're starting to see a pattern of behavior that just seems to not sit well with you, then I think the focused parenting program would be more ideal in that scenario, because the focused parenting program is definitely more tailored. There is 4 sessions within that program, of virtual consultations, but then each family gets a family log whereby they're tracking everything that's happening. And that's where the magic really happens, is because I come in with my behavioral eyes lenses, and I help for families to understand by me going in there and identifying the why behind the behavior, the function of the behavior, if we want to speak behavioral terms, and also what's maintaining them as well. And it's really when parents have a true understanding of the why behind the behavior and what they are doing without being even aware of it most of the time. Parents don't realize how their reaction is maintaining that behavior. So when laying that out, we're able to make more tailored support and strategies put in place, because then I'm taking the strength and needs of the families into consideration, and also what their values and beliefs are as well, to reach their ultimate goal. So it's definitely a more tailored support. It's a more intensive support, but it's also a support that helps families to reach their goals to solve an ongoing challenge.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Sylvia. And just to reiterate that you are doing your work virtually, so anyone in the world can access the Pick Your Brain or that program that Sylvia mentioned. And again, I'm just going to tell them your website is successinsteps.ca. And you mentioned you had resources there, and just fill out the contact form to connect with Sylvia, because you've given me so much. I'm going to start implementing these 4 things. And I am just honored that you were here to spend this time with us and help us see these. It seems easy. I know it's just going to be consistently using these tips, but these steps to build a strong family foundation and find peace and calm in our home. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Anything you want to leave us with today?
I just want parents to know that these are very trying times right now, and we all have to just do our best and not to be hard on ourselves, because every day is a new day with a new set of challenges. But I also want to say that by having it's never too late to start building a strong foundation for your family. I've helped many families during COVID to build that strong foundation. And when you do have a strong foundation, it's going to help you feel more confident, less stress, and it's going to help you to be able to respond to situations more than react to situations, which is going to have a positive rippling effect on your family as a whole as well. So take one day at a time. If you do need support, you can reach out to me, and there are resources out there to reach out to. You're not alone. We've got this.
Thank you so much, Sylvia.
Thank you for having me here, Jennifer.